In this video, I will go over how to do the Olympiad round in the World Computing Championships. So, on the home page of Unoya Ventures, when you're logged in, click on the home icon in the top right, and that will bring us to the student dashboard. And then if we click on this in the top left, and then click on practice, we will go to this page where you can press play on the World Computing Championships, and then go to Olympiad, and then press go to round. And that will bring us to our practice questions for the World Computing Championships Olympiad round. So there are 5 of them that you have to work through. Let's work through the first one, called subsequence. And then we're brought on Code Forces, we're brought to our question. So let's read it out. You're given a string S of length n. Does WCC exist as a subsequence of the string? A subsequence T of a string S is any string T that can be obtained by deleting some characters from any positions in S. Now the first line contains a single integer n, the length of the string S, and the second line contains the string S. And we're supposed to output yes if WCC is a subsequence of the string, and no if it is not a subsequence of the string. Now here the scoring has some clear conditions that we have to follow. So it's divided into 2 subtasks. So in the first subtask, we're at 60 points, n is less than equal to 100. In the second subtask, we're at 40 points, n is less than equal to 100,000. And the reason this is the case is because if your code is too complicated, it might not be able to work with the larger numbers. So you might only get the 60 points. But if your code is simplistic enough, it will work with both the subtasks and you will get full credit for this question. So here we're given example input and output, a couple of them, and let's go through them. So 5 is the n, so that is the length of the string S, and then the string S is WDCDC. And here you can see that WCC is a subsequence of the string, as you have W here in the first character, C in the third character, and C again in the 5th character. So WCC is a subsequence of the string, so we output yes. Now let's go to the second one. The n is 4, so there's 4 characters in the string, CWCA. Now here, while WCC rearranged is in the string as CWC, it needs to be in the correct order, and that is not the case in this string, as here we have CWC instead of WCC. So we output no. So what we need to do is we need to write a code that takes in the input n and the string S, and then output yes if WCC is a subsequence, and no if it is not. So let's get to the code. So now that I have my Python editor open, I can write the code. Before anything, we need to write our input statements. So n equals int input, as this is the number of characters in our string, and then s equals input, and this is the actual string which we need to find whether WCC is a subsequence in or not. So now I'm going to write 2 more strings. Firstly s1, which is going to be actually WCC, and then s2, which I'll make a blank string for now. And what I'm going to do with s2 is I'm going to take the w's and c's in s and then put them in s2 in the order that they are in s. So s2 will basically be s without the characters that aren't w or c. And I'm going to do this by writing a for loop, so for I in range n. So in the range of the number of characters in s, you could also do len s. Now I'm going to write an if statement in this for loop. If si, so if the ith character of s is w, or the ith character of s is c, then we're going to add that character to s2. So what it's basically doing is it's going through the characters of s from the left and checking if they are w or c, they're adding it to s2. So s2 will basically be s without the extra characters. So now that I've written this for loop and we have the new s2 with all of the characters of W and C from S in the correct order, we can just write the code to figure out whether WCC is a subsequence of S2. As if it is a subsequence of S2, it will be a subsequence of S. So we can do if S1, so if WCC is in S2, so just in S2, we can print yes, as that automatically checks if it's a subsequence. Else, we can print no. And now that we've done this code, before submitting it on Codeforces, we can check it here to make sure it's correct with the test cases. So saving it and testing it. So our first case, firstly we have to input N, so 5 and WDCDC. So here we expect to get yes because there's W, C, and C. And sure enough, we have yes. Now if we run it again, if we run this again, and input 4, and then we do CWCA, and here, although there is one W and two C's, they are not in the correct order of WCC, so we expect to see no, and sure enough, there is no. So now that we've seemingly finalized the code and it's correct, we can submit this on Codeforces. So now that I've done the code, I am on Codeforces and logged in, and I can submit the code. So if I press submit code here, choose the problem, so subsequence, and keep the language Python 3.8.10, and then here I can paste the code. And then when I submit it, it will run it on all the different subtasks. It is in queue, running on test 3, and perfect result 100 points. So it's as simple as that. You have 5 questions that you have to do in a 2-hour window, and this is how to do the Olympiad round.